Welcome to the first episode of Shapify Experiences, a media web podcast. In this space, we will talk about the trends that are shaping the future of digital, with a special focus of user experience. I'm Nelson, and with me,
Hi, I'm David.
we will be your hosts on this podcast. So, David, user experience. I think we can start by just trying to define what is a good user experience.
What is a good user experience? So for me, a good user experience it's when I don't know the app and I have to create an account and that experience is smooth and I don't need assistance creating that account. And when I log into the app, everything is intuitive, right? I think that's the best word to define it. You don't need no helping cards saying where you need to click to do certain actions. You just you look at the icons, you know the type of app you're in, and you understand what they do. If you're in a chatting message app, you know that the balloon will carry you to chats. So that type of thing. I think that's a great user experience, right?
I agree. But talking in trends and now with the trends of AI and how AI also affect user experience, I think the UX, the user experience of the applications now need to step forward in the next level. The application should be intuitive, yes, but if we put intelligence in the process, they can be not just intuitive, but they can do things more automatic. They can create, you start a process, and then if the application guess the next step and suggest things for you, or just do things by itself, and then you just need to confirm if it's what you wanted, that it creates even a better user experience. I believe the best user experience is basically
a hands-off approach.
Yes, if I don't need to touch in nothing, if that is in the edge. But if my interaction with the user experience is less, if I need to touch less in the software, the user experience probably is better.
People don't like to click things, right? People enjoy. I can see the use case you're talking with the CRM, right? You have this software that. It's usually the same process over and over. You have a new client, so you have to register that client. After you register, you open a job because you're doing the job for that client, and the job has a contract. If all of that, not all of that, you need to create the client first. But if the subsequent steps are automatically deployed and just ask okay, so I got the information and here's the contract for the type of job you selected. That's wonderful.
If most of the things automatically in nowadays in a lot of CRMs, I think is a good example. Things can be automatic. If I send an email, then if that email is not in the CRM, it can be automatically, because if the email is synchronized with CRM, can detect that there is a new contact, so there is a new lead that can be in CRM. So I don't need to create the contact. The contact. It appear automatically, and I think is really a good example, because in the CRM the contact goes since a lead to a prospect or a client, and if part of this process happen automatically, depending on things that you do, okay, I send a mail, I became a lead, but the person answered that mail. Okay, it already is not just one side communication. It already exists a answer. So maybe the level of the lead is not as cold as and these things can happen automatically.
For example, you're talking about sales. So on a CRM, you would have your pipeline there, right, predefined by you, and you would okay, I had an answer back, and I want, if I get an answer, to be in this table so I can check all of the tasks for the day. I need to answer all of these emails because I got an answer back. That's a great way to automate. There's also another way, because when you start a project, you estimate 2 weeks. This job has 2 weeks. has a start date and an end date. When you approach the end date, you should pass feedback to the client because that's one of the things, right? When you're dealing with a project, you need to understand, like, okay, the end date is approaching. Am I able to fulfill this end date and everything is okay? Or am I going to miss the end date because there was a hiccup? There's like it needed 3 more days, and you need to talk to the client, right? And the software can do that for you. Like, I'm sorry, your project is not yet completed. We'll be in touch soon in X days, and that's a great automation.
Yeah,
to
automation,
help.
and in that case, it can be totally automated. All suggestions, like in some of that parts, we don't want the software to just do things by itself without.
You want some oversight.
Yes, but if the software suggests, in your example, like, okay, this will pass the end date, and suggest directly email to send. And you can review the email and just confirm that you want to send it.
Yeah, but you don't have to think about it.
Exactly.
You don't have to, wait, I need to check all of the project's end date and I need to put something on the calendar, so I have to remind myself.
Exactly.
It takes off a huge load.
Exactly.
Also, in that use case, you also have talking about, you were talking automation that suggestions. We're already seeing a lot of this. Like on Gmail, you're about to send an email and you have an AI assistant like Gemini. Can I help you write this email better? Can I make it more formal or less formal? And that's like, it's a suggestion. You can like override it completely or not use it at all, or you can like review my email. And that's a small thing, but it's a great help.
Yeah. So basically, resuming, I think. One of the main trends happening now about user experience is this kind of automations, like how a user experience is intuitive enough and smart enough to help the user making things faster instead of doing everything manually.
Okay, so and that automation also, you're talking about user experience as the end result. So. Okay, AI can help with that, but AI can also help with design and coding, like the process of working before, like building that app can also be assisted with AI. At the top of my mind, I can think for design you have Leonardo, for code, well, you have a lot, but Gemini is one of the I think there's also a couple of better ones.
Lovable, even Mentor from OutSystems, Bolt.ai, there are Vizero from Vercel. There are a lot of tools appearing every single day. And all of them are in the beginning. Like these tools do amazing stuff already, but this is the beginning of this kind of softwares.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? We're like talking about tools that didn't exist last year or didn't exist 2 years ago, at least not in this form, and now they're already being like scary awesome and doing things that were like, whoa.
Yeah, and this actually is a topic, is a great topic for us to talk also, because like the way of making software is changing. And the way of doing it by itself don't change the user experience. Is a different topic, but it's something interesting to talk here also. The process of making software, and this is not just in software. Like AI is impacting most of the
every market.
In every market. Yeah. But in our market, about the digital experiences, about software, for sure it will not be the same thing anymore. And as we are saying, we are at the beginning. Like we have tools now that can generate entire app just with some simple prompt. Or a couple of prompts. This doesn't exist some time ago, and but maybe going back to design, maybe you can talk a little bit about the process of creating a design and implementing it also with AI. What exists in nowadays?
Yeah, because when I think about everything with AI, and I've been experimenting, but just a bit. Like I don't consider myself a pro by any stretch of the imagination. I just play around with them just to see what they're capable of. What I see is usually to do a complex task like designing a UI UX interface. Usually you need more than one app, right? Like you need some strengths from one and some strengths from another, and you need to be like, you need to engineer your workflow to pick out the best. Can you?
Yeah, that workflow I think is evolving also. The things that the things that we have been testing in MediaWeb is and the thing that might be the future is that, for example, we start using tools to help us ideating. Like a simple chat bot can help you generate ideas or trying to create some content for your stuff. But then there are other tools that can help you generating wireframes. But why you will generate wireframes if you can generate high fidelity with, with AI also?
Yeah, so the idea of wireframe is a low-cost solution to improve structure before investing in high fidelity.
Yeah.
But if it's low cost to do high fidelity, then wireframes kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. But then when you start making all of these steps, we start understanding that maybe we can cut some of them. Because, we just cut wireframes. We go straight to high fidelity. But, but then you can use some tools also to convert that high fidelities to code. There are some, the best one that I test until now, like the builder.io. It converts not perfectly, but really good designs into code. But then you have tools like V0 or Lovable or Bold that you can generate real apps directly. So I see some of the trends of, or I see that part of the process can evolve to a designer use directly a tool that generates code in real time and test it directly with real code instead of being playing in Figma and then passing to a developer. This is maybe soon for that, but you imagine the quantity of steps that we are cutting here. If a designer prototype or just make a test directly in a tool that generates code, and tweak that design and evolve that application, and at the end it already have an application. Maybe it's not fully working, or better.
Highly functional prototype experience.
No, that tools can make a full working application. Maybe the designer needs some help of a more technical guy to make that app connected to a database, or to have some persistent data, to have authentication, etc.
And there are some points and we've seen this already, generate an app, and it's like 80% there. It's not 100%, but it takes a lot of the boring tasks of doing the app, and you're like, I'm halfway there, so I just need to tweak this, enlarge that, diminish this to respect the design. One question. On the design process, like a traditional design process, you do like wireframes with UX research based on UX research, and then you pass on to something like deciding colors and if the shapes are going to be round and what
the
fonts.
UI stuff. Part.
That step. How does building with AI and straight to high fidelity? How does it impact that?
If you go straight to high fidelity, the AI probably will not generate exactly what you want. We were talking about the process that I think it will still need some human touch. Like if you want to generate a UI with a strong design system, like if you want your app to be scalable and have a consistent UI, the design that will be generated by AI will still not have that consistent, I believe. But unless you work on that first. Like if you use the AI tools to help you first generating a style guide or a design system, defining all of that rules, and then create a design based on that rules.
Okay. And probably even the UX research, you have to still do it because you need that information. Like, okay, with AI you can help. You can use AI to help you build a persona and all of that, but it's still useful to have real information with real users,
No,
and you can use that to feed your prompt, right?
That part I think is very important. The user experience part is not something that I think we can skip in terms just using AI. For example, if you cut all of the steps that we were talking, if you go straight to a tool that generates code, you still need to know what to create.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw myself using one of the tools, creating an app that have investors and companies and some of that functionalities. But I went straight to that tool, make the software, and I looked to myself trying to understand what I will do. Like, okay, I create a company's page. I create the page is searchable. I have investors. I have something. But what is the rest of the functionalities that I want to do here?
Yeah,
like,
you never did the pre-work needed to make those decisions.
Yeah, the user experience part, the research part associated to the project is still very important, because at the end, if you go to one of the tools to generate the code, having a clear vision about what is the screens that you want to do, what is the functionality in which one of the screens, all of that details, it will be really important for you to request. Because in this case, if you will be doing prompting engineering to request functionalities, you need to request the right things. So you need to have that requirements well defined.
Yeah, and you need that because AI, and you need to feed that in your prompt, because AI, to all its gains, it learns from, it derives for something that already exists. So it's creating something new, but based on something that already exists.
Yeah.
Like, he knows Facebook does this and Instagram does that. So if I'm asking, someone is asking me to build a social media, UX, UI, I'll probably look at those.
Yeah.
But if you want to make something different, or you have a different user base, or just you need to create something entirely new, you need to feed that information to the AI so it can help you better.
Yeah, he will not create something totally new if he's not trained with that. If you want to create something innovative, you need to
we're talking about
define what
two giants, right? Facebook, Instagram, big social media, but there are a lot of small social medias that he can pick up, and they might not have such a great UX, and he can pick up on those stuff too, because AI is biased towards good and towards bad. So true. Actually it's not, it's the opposite of bias. So he learns everything, the good and the bad. And you need to guide him towards what you want. No, but I think AI is doing a great job. In the middle of that, we at MediaWeb work a lot with OutSystems. It's one of our main income streams. Like, we are specialized in OutSystems, in front end in OutSystems, and you talked about Mentor.
This experience in general.
Yeah, in general, right. And it's actually funny because you would think, oh, but it's a low-code platform. Why does it need design? It's just drag and drop. Yeah, and then you have like a bootstrap-ish app, because you can look at an OutSystems app and be like, oh, that's OutSystems, because no one touched the design, no one touched nothing. But you can actually mess with it and do something better. But OutSystems is not evolving towards that end, the front end, but it's evolving a lot towards building apps with AI, right? You talked about Mentor.
Actually, just last week they official launch Mentor. Mentor was announced in the last OutSystems 1 in Amsterdam. Now is live, and I still didn't have the opportunity to test this last version, but I'm really curious to understand what it can do. I think it's one of the tools that is more
Refined.
yeah, at least all of the other tools that I have been seeing, you need to ask everything little by little. Like you need
Very
to
babysitting.
create a empty project, connect it to the database. Now make the
So
authentication.
it's a more
Now make
step-by-step
I need
approach.
you need to say
Yeah.
if I try to ask too much things at the same time, something will broke.
Okay.
I think OutSystems in this is making really a good job, because from what I saw and test in the early versions of Mentor, Mentor is integrated in OutSystems. OutSystems already have everything connected, already have authentication, already have all of that stuff. So when you request a kind of a application, it directly create tables, create screens, give you the screens for you to review, make the transitions between the screens, basically generate
Yeah, it
everything.
generates the entire app, and we saw that at one actually, because it was still an early like pre-release version. We got to play with it a bit, and it was already above and beyond what we thought. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but it's a hell of a product.
Yeah.
And
This at the beginning.
they actually
The things that I talk with the team that is behind this product, they really saying we are just at the beginning. Like
they have more under the hood.
they just launched the first version of the app. So this already generate entire softwares. But there is much more that they are preparing to create in the next months and years. So because of that, we were talking at the beginning that the way of working, the way of creating digital experiences is totally changing. Like is more accessible to everyone. In the past, you need to have more specialized teams to create it, and now and in the future, it will be much more accessible. Like anyone that will have an idea will be able to use one of these tools to try to generate the app. Possible to make a full app working without knowing how to code.
That's probably going to cause a big polarization of the market, right? You're going to have the really high specialized people that when you have a problem, you're going to, and the really generalists that can do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
And they kind of do it because AI gives them a hand, but when they have a problem, they need to go high
Exactly.
specialty.
I think that will totally happen. Like the specialized, like the software engineer guy will be more specialized, creating the stuff that doesn't exist, creating the innovation, and then the AI will be able to make the repetitive tasks for everyone that.
That makes sense. That's why AI is being such a decision maker of difference. Like one thing, going back towards one on Mentor, like one thing that I was really impressed in the demo. I bet they did it on purpose. I don't know if they did, but it was certainly a good way of demonstrating how powerful Mentor can be. I don't remember her name. She was doing a demo on Mentor on the main stage, and she was showing how everything worked. She was creating an app from scratch. It was like a package delivery or something, package management. And she never said that she needed like a cancel state. You need to cancel your order. She didn't tell them that. He created
the specifications. She uploaded the specification documents. Didn't have that requirement in the specifications. That there was a list of states without a cancel. And then at the end, the system create the things that were in the specification and added
the cancel state,
the missing one.
Yeah, because that makes sense. You need a CRUD operation. You always need a CRUD operation when you have this. It might not be direct, but you need a way to cancel, delete something. And Mentor did understood the assignment and did that for her. He was like, "Yeah, you need this."
Yeah.
He didn't even ask. You can delete that, and he will adjust. You have full control after he generated the app. You can arrange it how you feel like it. But the fact that without asking, he was able to understand, yeah, she's going to need this. That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, because so what that means is that, and it was funny in the presentation because she commented like, okay, that was not in the requirements and is used to happen, missing requirements, and it's true.
And
like
it's normal,
a lot of times there are missing requirements in the software. So if the AI can understand the objective and suggest new things is wonderful. I was about to because when that in that demo the thing about mentor that I think is nice to talk here also is that it's make all of the process of the software on top is this that that one say on top of a low code platform. So while the other platforms are generating high code, so you can use AI to generate code, but then when you get stuck, you need to go to the high code.
So you need to understand code.
Yeah, like you use just with prompts, you ask what you want and then generate the things.
Perfect.
And then you get some error. And then you cannot fix it with AI. And then you need to go to the code, to the JavaScript or to other language that AI is generated and try to fix it. And if you are not a developer, it will be very hard because you don't know what is happening there. So one of the advantages of Mentor is not Mentor itself; it's the local platform behind that. And because of that, I'm very curious to understand now what companies will be able and what we'll be able to do using Mentor in our projects, because we can not just accelerate the process at the beginning, generating a full entire application straightforward or in a very fast way, but then we can edit it using OutSystems, using a low-code platform.
Yeah, because let's face it, the major difficulty of building an app, it's actually the end phase. It's the refinement.
Yeah.
It's the small itty-bitty things.
Yeah.
If you can leave that, because AI, for now, it's not doing that. Or it's not doing picture perfect what you want, but it's taking a lot of the bulk. Like, here's the page, here's the list, here's the search bar, and that's everything you asked. Perfect. But the button is not the shape I want. It's not the color I want. And the list is not finished how I want. But
or
you
the
can
search
focus
doesn't
on that.
work exactly how you want.
Yeah,
or
because the search is a different algorithm.
If you start going more deep in the details, like how the search is being done, how is the database, how is that connection,
because then you step into a world. It's not that Mentor, it's not capable of delivering that search experience. Is that probably you're not able to put that into the prompt, because prompt engineering is a real thing. You need to think about your prompt. You need to structure it correctly.
Yeah, but that is also, I think, one advantage of the Mentor and OutSystems, because the way that the search will work, it will be something
predetermined.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I believe instead of generating a search, it will be a search that is the best search
for that use case.
Yeah, for like from the applications done in OutSystems that have that use case, the best approach is this, and should be that one that will be used.
That's actually pretty great, because if you think about it, that's more predictable. Like, to someone who is already inside of the OutSystems platform, you know what to expect from a search with a list. You know how they will probably connect those and how it will work. And you already know how much work will be from going to that point to wherever you want to be. One thing, going outside of Mentor and OutSystems, back there we were talking about...
Maybe just before we're going out of Mentor.
Okay.
I was saying that we want to test now this new version, And one thing that you really need to try to test is how to Mentor will work with Rocket UI. From
yeah.
the ones that don't know, Rocket UI is our UI kit that extend OutSystems UI, and combining both things, the developer will be able to customize the UI using Rocket UI, all of the components and the configurator that we have, and then use Mentor to generate applications, to generate the pages and the search, etc. So it's one of the tests that we will be doing in the next weeks, trying to use both things together, and maybe we'll publish a video about that. I'm very curious about
Yeah,
that.
that's actually great that we are trying to stick up with innovation and continue to develop rockets. Rocket, I think, delivers great on its promises, that it makes the OutSystems experience a bit better when it comes to front end and design implementation. OutSystems is great on its own, but we know when it comes to front end, it also gives extra components, more complex components that you're probably going to waste a lot of time implementing by yourself. So yeah, that's great. Well, actually, the topic I was about to bring into this was, we did create a landing page a couple of weeks ago using Vercel's V0, right? I think I'm not mistaken. Okay. I want to talk about that. How was that? Because we already talked about...
We actually, in that,
I think we already...
That landing page, we did different tests.
Okay.
And the main things that we wanted to test in that process of creating a landing page is how we could automate most of the process. So we start with a Figma design. Okay. We made a Figma with the design that we wanted from our landing page. I think it was Penpot landing page.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was. Either Penpot or accessibility.
One of that too. Actually, both of them have a similar design now, so we can we can test on one or other. The design will be similar, but we test multiple things. We have the design, and then I remember that we test using V0, and in V0 we have an integration with Figma. I don't know if the integration worked directly. I remember at least the first time I tested, the integration was not working, or maybe it was too big. Okay. But at some point we could generate the page using V0. The result was not. It was okay.
Okay. Like on the scale of 0 to 100.
Okay.
Like percentage. From the idea you had in your mind, your expectation, and the prompt you gave, how do you feel it delivered?
It was kind of 60.
It's not bad.
Yeah, but
it's not great, but it's not
like
bad.
we wanted the landing page to be exactly like the design, and was as a company, that one of the things that we do is front end development. We want the output to be exactly at the design. And
we're pretty picky.
Yeah, so there were a lot of things that were not correct. Like it could not. I don't know.
Spacing, fonts, like sizing.
Yeah, there were some things that were a lot of things on that. Like the in general, I think even the font didn't pick up correctly.
But like, did you say like exactly the font? Like, I want Mosra font.
No, I just actually maybe that could be a way of improving that process.
I don't know if you'll go to Google Fonts and be like, I use this.
Because the way that we did it was, there is a Figma file here, so there is Figma, and replicate this design.
So he'll have to do some visual AI to understand.
We just ask to replicate the design. Probably if you make it in that way, we probably know it will for sure work much better. If you give a Figma file and then a prompt saying replicate perfectly this design, and this little thing of perfectly, it helps to make it better.
Really?
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna be extra picky.
So if you ask to replicate, but if you give more help, I think it will make it better. Like if you give more help, like the titles will be font Google font Sora. If the text will be Albert Sons. the color, the color will normally pick up correctly.
Okay.
But if you give some tips, I believe it will be.
Well, but did at least like you had a sensory font and it placed a sensory font on the page, or it's like you had
I
like
think
Monserrat on the design and it paints like Times New Roman.
I think didn't customize the first, at least the first interaction. But that was the first interaction. The way that the process that worked better was actually using other tool, and we have been using Lovable also to make some front end applications.
Lovable, it's like a V0 alternative.
Like V0, but it has directly integration with the backend database stuff called Superbase. So it by default is ready to make a full stack web application. You can just request something. The right process should be like start a clean application, connect the database, ask the authentication, and then start asking more things. And because it's connected to the backend, to a backend service, and with the database, the Lovable itself can create tables and the necessary things. One of the in one of the tests that I did with the app to manage some things. With a live chat, I could make a live chat without making any code. I just the database behind the Superbase have the option to have real-time data.
Okay.
So it just create a table for real-time data to be used in the chat, and generate a chat. I could be talking with you through that application real-time without creating without a single line of code. Yeah, didn't work well in the first prompt. Like I made the first prompt. I don't know exactly if it was working directly, but I could not choose who I was talking. Like I go to the chat. Okay, now I talk with who.
So it's an omegle. It's an omegle.
I need to select
randomly talk with someone that he gives you.
I think it created all of the code necessary to make the chat, but didn't make the starting. The starting a conversation. Like if I go to the chat, now I will talk with who. I need to go to a list of persons and select
who I want to talk to.
Yeah, didn't make that part. I need to apart ask, how can you create a new conversation page, and then it create a model. I can go to the
in 2 prompts.
2 or 3, something like that.
Whatever, even 10 prompts.
Yeah.
In 10 prompts, reaching a functional chat room. Because there are some work there. Because the thing is, the real-time database, that it's a hustle. Like you used to use Firebase with the real-time. You need to pay per each interaction. It was a real... but I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, actually, I was saying this, going back to the landing page, because we are using also Lovable. And after creating the landing page with V0, we try... also Lovable, because Lovable launched, actually I don't know if it was Lovable, but there is a plugin that connect builder.io to Lovable. So builder.io have a plugin to Figma that convert Figma to code, and then you can on that plugin plugin you convert what you have in Figma to Builder. I think I'm saying correctly the name, builder.io.
Check.
And on builder.io, you can then generate the code, and you can choose which code you want to generate. You can choose if you want to generate HTML, React, etc.
And then you pass that on to Lovable?
And then you can, since you have the code, you can pass to Lovable and continue on Lovable on top of that. Like you already
so you have like the base of the design, and then you'll be like, now I can add functionality to this.
Yeah, then you can on Lovable. Again, if it's an application that have database connected to the database, give authentication, etc. For the landing page, that was not necessary.
Because it's a simple. But let's talk about, for example, I'm thinking that what's the use of prototyping then? Like, if it's that easy to pick up the design the designer made, with AI, without AI, it doesn't matter. You have a design, you're gonna translate that to code with Builder.io, and then you're going to upload it to Lovable and make it half functional. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to click things and change pages.
Yeah.
And that's gonna do it like on the first try because it's an easy task. What do you think? Like
About a traditional prototype in
because
Figma, for example.
should we need that? Because
Yeah,
the effort seems like, okay, Lovable is going to be a bit more effort, but for the functionality extra that you're gaining,
Yeah, it's still easy to make it in Figma, but
it's really easy.
but uh, but not much more easy. Like it's quite easy. It's quite easy to
But
make it
it's
using
also
these kind of
limited.
tools. Yeah,
In Figma, it's real limited. It's like you have to signal this button and say when someone clicks this button, it's going to change to this design, and that's about it.
I think the main thing is in Figma is easy, but when you start to making more complex interaction, like if you want to make an interaction seems really not perfect, it seems real.
Yeah.
If you want Figma to feels real, you need to do things like, okay, you go to a form. How will a user type a form in Figma? Like you need to make a step with the form empty and then a other page with the form full, for example. But if it's a prototype,
It's a bit cumbersome, right?
yeah, you understand
starts
that is
to
not
be-
real.
yeah,
Like you
yeah,
go
yeah.
there, okay, this they feel automatic. Okay, you understand the flow, but you are not really fully
it does
interacting.
its job, right? It's just to show the client how it will all go. It's to show the flow actually. So it does its job. But if you can deliver the client a half functional, basic functionally app ready,
No,
that's
if it will be really implemented, even if it's not fully implemented, it can fake much better. Like
Yeah.
you can give the app to a client or to a user to test it, and the client will not understand, depending on the things that you make behind the things, that the app is not finished. It
Yeah.
can really interact in a real application, and this make totally difference because at least in some experience that we in some projects that we did, sometimes just when you have a real app in front of you, you notice some things.
yeah,
Like
that's
it
true.
happened in with me some clients that okay, you make the design, you make the prototype, but
And everything is approved.
But they approve, everything is approved, but they didn't look
Closely enough. Because they don't feel that's the stage. Although you explain.
just when it's finished, or when it's something that seems real, they start testing more serious some things
And make decisions.
Yeah, and having that prototype more close to the final, I think it will help giving that feedback more
Earlier in the project where it's supposed to be. Because let's face it, it's always worse. And we had that happening where a client wants to change a decision and it's actually more work to change it than it was if we thought about it from the beginning because it messed with the database architecture or it messed with something that no one foreseen. So we always tell clients to like, okay, it's in the design phase that you have to make this decision. So look closely. But we all know people are busy. They don't have enough.
and
it's
sometimes
not a
things change.
consequence.
And sometimes
change.
things are always changing.
Yeah, that's true.
An application that don't change will die.
Yeah, and it could be as simple as like the person who saw it approved it, but after 2 weeks it showed someone else and they noticed
have a
something
different
else,
perspective
and then again it changed.
Yeah.
So our process, it's complicated to do this, but it needs to be flexible enough to accommodate these decisions altering the app. It's not always as easy as it seems, but with AI, with the help of AI, it can be certainly simpler. And
Yes.
I think that's the best takeaway we can take from this podcast. If you have to take away something from this episode, I think it will be that AI does not do anything by itself, but it does accelerate and it does help a lot. And
Completely.
like Nelson said, it's still in the beginning. So this is like the first 2 years of some great stuff already. And imagine in 5 years. Imagine in 10 years.
It's hard to think.
It's really hard
how
because
it'll be in 5 years.
if it's already here and we are already like, wow, this is awesome. What will happen in like 10 years? I don't know. I don't know. Someone more involved in AI building probably knows, but I don't know. I can't even figure it out.
Yeah. I think going back to user experience, I think the hardest part is the innovation. Is to create something new. So for us to create software that is different, the user experience, the research, all of the things that the human does is still the valuable part, and will be the hardest part to automate or to use AI. I think AI just can get close to that when the AI itself make all of the process. When the AI can make the app, test it, and redefine, and test and redefine. When AI can close this loop, then can improve by itself.
Okay.
I think we are still not there, but
it's walking.
Yeah.
Walking? No, running.
Completely.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching this episode. It was a real pleasure having you on that side. And keep up to date. Subscribe to our channels, okay? So when the next episode comes out, you'll be notified, okay? Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.